Alright, today we're going to finish our semester review. This is part 3. Again, we'll only do certain problems. Let's look at number 2 on page 1. It tells us that which equation can be used to find C, the total cost, if standby is 5 pounds of common Bermuda and 2 pounds of rye. Okay, so first of all, we have to figure out total means add. So we're going to add whatever the 5 pounds of common Bermuda will cost plus the 2 pounds of ryegrass. So we go up into our problem here, and we try to figure out what we know. Here it says common Bermuda is $3.60 per pound. Now, in order to find 5 pounds of that, we need to multiply them. So we need to multiply 5 times 360. When we look, C adds 5 and 360, so we know it won't work. Okay, the next thing we need to look at is the 2 pounds of ryegrass. Well, ryegrass is 4 pounds for $6. Well, we don't want 4 pounds, we want 2 pounds. So we're going to have to take the $6, which is for 4 pounds, and divide by 2, which is half. So the only one that takes $6 divided by 2 is H. Let's look at problem number 7 on the second page. It tells us about a sequence, and they give us an expression for the sequence, n plus 1 over 2. What it's asking us is, what is it going to be for the 5th term? So basically what we're going to want to do is we're going to want to replace our n, which is our term, with 5 for our 5th term. So we have 5 plus 1 divided by 2. Well, 5 plus 1 is 6. And 6 divided by 2 is 3. Well, 2 divided by 2 is not. That's 2.5. That's 3. That's 3.5. C is the correct solution. Let's look at number 10 on page 4. Here it gives us a lot of information. So what we want to do is we want to start out with the question to make sure we understand what's going on. It says, if a regular dodecagon has 30 edges, how many vertices does it have? Okay, so what we're going to be looking for is looking for an equation that gives us here the information that we need to be able to find our missing part. Remember, our missing part is vertices. We know it's got 30 edges. So what we do is we replace what we do know. E is 30. F, we don't know, so we have to read through the problem, and we see that this polyhedron has 12 faces. So F is 12. Now this becomes an algebra problem. Also got to bring it down a little bit further to kind of make it simpler. It says that 12 plus V equals 30, plus 2. Okay, we need to simplify that out. That'll be 12 plus V equals 32. Now, in order to solve this equation, we have to subtract on both sides. We have to subtract 12. Subtract 12 from 12. And we subtract 12 from 32. If we subtract both sides, we find that V is equal to 20. So our solution is G20. Okay, let's look at 2 problems on the first page of our last section, which is the 7th page of this packet. It says the area of the square is 22 square feet. So what I like to do is I like to draw myself a square so I can remember what it's talking about. Now we don't know the lengths of the sides. So what we do know is that they're a variable if we don't have that information. So we're going to type in x for our unknown. And since it's a square, both sides are the same. So since the area is done by length times width, we multiply x times x to get to 22. Well, x squared is 22. Well, that means that the square root of 22 is equal to x. Well, the square root of 22 lies between 16 and 25. But which one is it closest to? Well, let's take a look. It is 6 away from 16. It is only 3 away from 25. So it is going to be closer to 5 than it is to 4. So H is our solution. Let's look at number 3. Here we have a situation where we need to figure out this trip from home to work straight if we took this shortcut. So it's obvious to me, since we have a right triangle here and we have two sides, that we're going to need to use the Pythagorean theorem. Remember that the Pythagorean theorem states that a squared plus b squared should equal c squared. Since we know a and b, this should be pretty simple, with the one exception. These are big numbers. So we may have to use our calculator on this one. We have 120 squared plus 240 squared should equal to c squared. Well, 12 times 12 is 144. So this would be 144 with 2 zeros. Don't believe me? Check your calculator. Plus well, 240 is twice this. So really what we want to do is we want to find this times 2 times 2. Okay, so we're going to take 144 times 2 is going to be 288 times 2 is 576. So this will be 576 and 2 zeros. And that equals c squared. So we need to add those two together. Not a very good 2 here. Sorry about that. We had 57,600 to 14,400. Well, that gives us 72,000. Computer's acting out today, so I apologize. Now, of course, in order to find c, we need to find the square root of both sides. So what we want to do is we want to find the square root of 72,000. Oh, that's a big, big number. It keeps dying on me. Sorry about that. Well, that's a number I'm not really sure I'm going to be very happy to do. But what I can do is I can go backwards and look for this. Well, 45 times 45. Oh, anyway, we got to find out how much shorter. We got to figure this out. 72,000. The square root of 72,000 in my calculator. See if I can find the calculator real fast. Sorry. There we go. So we take the square root of 72,000 to get us 268.3. So this length here was about 268 368 yards. Well, the distance around here was 360. So in order to find the difference, we're going to have to subtract 360 minus 268. Well, this is about 270. So in reality, we're saving about 90 yards. B. Well, my pen doesn't give up on me.